Illegal migrant school chiefs' sordid past revealed. Sex, lies, DEI payouts? Oh, you mean anti-whiteism? The school district, and this is more of anti-white domestic terrorism. He just got one of those jobs that white people don't want to do. The school district superintendent, arrested by ICE this week, lied about attending MIT and was the subject of 2 sex discrimination lawsuits. So that's where we are. You can be an abject malefactor and throw on a pink suit, pink jacket, and head on out there in this anti-white, white erased Western civilization, and everything goes good for you. Can be a sex deviant, even beyond sexual eccentricity, sex deviant, and not even in the country legally, and possessing a legal firearm, illegally voting, all of these claims, driving around in a car paid for by the taxpayers, a nice car paid for by the taxpayers, carrying an illegal firearm and money, hundreds of dollars, and it works out well for you. Snappy dresser. Do you think that's what they would say about me if I were to be arrested by the anti-white regime? Snappy dresser, Jason Köhne. Ian Andre Roberts, 51, was fired by Des Moines Public Schools after it emerged that he was working illegally. So they knew that, and they celebrated that. In that anti-white environment, in this anti-white world, they knew that he was white erasing a white male from this role. They knew that to make things even better, he wasn't even legally allowed to be here. I guarantee, my opinion, guarantee the anti-whites loved that. While I struggle to get by, this thing was making $300,000 a year. Yeah. I tell you, these if young white guys or white guys of any age decided to come here, decided to be as enthusiastic about white well-being as they are about supporting Lil Nicky, Little Sombrero, everything would change overnight. Everything. So in a big way, he is a bulwark against the reclamation of our destiny in a very big, concrete way. He was finally fired when the public became aware that an illegal alien, according to the New York Post, was the superintendent. Robert spent over 20 years bouncing around the nation's education system. Okay, 20 years bouncing around. What happens to you in your industry, especially if you're a white guy, and you bounce around on jobs? You don't get hired for anything. Why? Because the employer looks and says, why have you had, 10 jobs in 20 years? What's wrong with you? Why do you keep having to? That sort of behavior is an immediate detriment to us. Not to an anti-white black guy. Holding top posts the entire time, from coast to coast, but also proved controversial. Top posts the entire time. He's screwing all of, I'm sure, the white women in these educational institutions. I saw a survey that was done. This was, I don't know, last month I saw it. I don't know when the survey was completed, but it had asked about infidelity. And the number 2 of unfaithful, at least in this survey, was nurses. And people see this all the time, the nurses. Number 1, teachers among females. Robert spent 20 years bouncing around, top posts. He ruined our district for 3 years, a former colleague. So some sane person witnessing this happening the entire time. Some sane colleague told the Post. He was very smooth and affable, but the overarching feeling you got from him was smoke and mirrors mystique. I've worked with guys just like this. Right side of their bell curve. He's also rumored to have been caught having sex with a female coworker. Really? I'd put that money down on any table in Vegas. Long before any of this. On school property in his previous role as superintendent in rural Pennsylvania. So I wonder in rural Pennsylvania what race she was. A post he held from 2020 to 2023. Former colleagues claimed to the Post that Roberts was a sketchy figure and a pathological liar. Well, he's allowed to be in the anti-white narrative. He's been oppressed, suppressed, exploited. I mean, you could tell by the $300,000 salary. They said they felt he was hired because of his diversity. You mean hired because of anti-whiteism? This is what people need to get right. This is what they need. I'm never going to complain that a non-white person was given a benefit because of their non-white status. They're benefiting because we are victimized. Focus on our victimization. And claimed that once on the job, he did little work. Really? You don't say. You don't. The smooth-talking, anti-white, non-white guy did little work? Wow. He was a player. He liked the women. I bet he did. Only 2 lawsuits. I wonder how many more are going to come out as a consequence. A source who knew Roberts, who asked not to be named, told the Post, knowing that they would be fired. Another source expressed concern to the school board in Pennsylvania that Roberts might not be a legal resident on casual comments he had made, but their concern was ignored. No shit. Reports indicate Roberts has not been legally allowed to work in the United States since 2020. Originally from Guyana, Roberts had been ordered deported during the Biden administration. He was arrested by ICE on September 26 after attempting to flee officers and was, I mean, how many do we have? 50 million people that are non-citizens? 75 million that are non-citizens? How many? Seriously, illegal and visas that are now illegal and visa holders, H-1B, and what was it? What's the other one? H-1L? How many? He was arrested by ICE on the 26th after attempting to flee officers and was found hiding in a bush. I bet he spent a lot of time in bushes in rural Pennsylvania. The school owned, because you know they don't shave. I mean, let's be serious. Anti-white, white women. The school-owned vehicle he was driving contained a fixed-blade hunting knife, a loaded Glock 19 firearm, and $3,000 in cash. I bet he fantasized himself often shooting it like this. $3,000. I thought it was hundreds of dollars. I always try to be on the conservative side of estimates. Since then, it has emerged that he has faked many of his credentials. This is, I mean, and you know it wasn't this part smoothly done. You know nobody was looking. You know they received his resume and they just said, "Oh, it's all true. All of this that makes him sound wonderful is true because we can white erase a white man with him." His, I guess, in education, even though he's at the district level, it's probably still a CV. but it's lengthy of how genius he is, and they just accept. They don't look into anything. However, a spokesperson for the elite school told the Post it has no record of that. Yep, Circumvitee doesn't say anything about all the married white women he has bedded down so that they could make amends for anti-whiteism. They could make amends for how awful the white race is. You all know, I mean, it's an ugly reality. You know that's happening. He also claimed to have attended Harvard and Georgetown. Those schools did not respond to requests for verification. I mean, just to investigate his claim is to be anti-white. For years, Roberts also falsely claimed he had a doctorate from Baltimore's Morgan State University. He went to all of these schools for lunch. A school official told the Des Moines Register that he did not obtain a degree. Roberts would, but we'll be happy to just give him one. Yeah, he didn't get one, but we'll be happy to give him one. Where is he? Roberts was superintendent of Mill Creek Township School near Erie, Pennsylvania, for 3 years. During that time, the school district was inundated by lawsuits. So the white erasure of our men, the white erasure of our norms, and it becomes a sex den, kind of like it looks like in Guyana. Very little work, sexual assaults, and driving down big, beautiful houses, vacations, gorgeous clothing. That, I mean, I don't approve, obviously, of much of the garish, tawdry nonsense that he will select. But if I was making even half of, if I was making a quarter of that, I would be, the suavity would be known for towns and towns and towns away. I would be a far better situated than I am. During that time, the school district was inundated by lawsuits and forced to pay taxpayer dollars, your and my dollars, for Erie is poor. Erie is like poor white people. Empty churches, poor white people, like so much of Pennsylvania. And those white people had to pay out $400,000, almost $500,000 in lawsuits to people that this anti-white terrorist, domestic terrorist, inflicted on the population. So the population being harmed in every imaginable way. Let's talk about Nazis. During that time, the school district was inundated. Town gossip claimed Roberts hightailed it out of Mill Creek after he was caught having sex with a female coworker on school property, another white woman, although this could not be verified. How many women is he bedding down at these schools? There were rumors flying around about his, let's say, extracurricular activities, close quote, a former colleague in that district said. A lawyer for Roberts did not immediately return the Post's request. This is Melody, said Ellington and Roberts worked together in St. Louis before she joined him in Mill Creek. She worked there a year before getting a $250,000. So this is one of the women he sexually assaulted. My question is, my guess is that if she followed him from St. Louis, it's because he was hooking her up. He was hooking her up big time with work, with money. She probably doesn't qualify either, or she wouldn't be in cahoots with this guy, would she? An actual good black woman would not want to have anything to do with this guy. She would be endeavoring to make her way in the world on her own merit and effort. So my guess is this woman couldn't compete. And then what happened is she ended up there with this guy and getting the salary. And he said, hey, I need some back my direction. And then she didn't like having to pay up in the form of payment he was looking. At the time, Roberts' abrupt resignation, however, Mill Creek Schools was also in the process of negotiating another $250,000 settlement. She was threatening to sue the district, for constructive discharge following a resignation. According to the Labor Department, constructive discharge is a situation where a resignation is involuntary. Roberts is the only school district official identified by name in the settlement. One source told the Post that she was his girlfriend, but this could not be confirmed. So there he is right over here, the boss man. This is Des Moines. And you have, this building built by white men, a city built by white men. And the boss man is the black guy. Among the red flags, firearms violations, which is at the root of him now being detained. Coworker parents and members of the community noticed that something was off. All right, so we've heard about enough from this astronaut, or about this astronaut. He just wants to show up and and solve cancer for us and make things all better, because the way we built Des Moines and Erie and other towns that he went into, the way that we built is inferior to how they do it in Guyana, which is more in comportment with his biospirit. So he was just going to show up and fix things for us. Finally, I mentioned it, Justice Brett Kavanaugh, would-be assassin, sentenced to 8 years in prison. You know that this person is not even going to get 8 years, will be paroled, my opinion, will be paroled before 8 years. So you can show up with plans to murder a Supreme Court justice, show up to carry out the act, and in the anti-white world, you're going to get a slap on the wrist, and your change of gender will be recognized and honored, because the guy that showed up to kill Roberts is now a girl named Sophie, who I presume will end up in a female prison, making things even easier on her. That's how sick it's become, ladies and gentlemen.